The latest attack on Jeremy Corbyn comes about on a meeting he recently held. Now, this meeting was supposed to be an open, frank talk about what Benjamin Netanyahu's government is doing to the Palestinian people. Now, there were a number of guest speakers, there were a number of people in the audience. Jeremy Corbyn was chairing this. One of the guests was a Holocaust survivor. But the issue that has brought this about is during the talks, someone equated what the Israeli government is doing to what the Nazis did. Now, on a little side note, I understand that comparison. I'm not defending it, I'm not standing against it. I'm simply saying that I understand that comparison. Hitler wanted to exterminate every single Jewish person on the planet. From what we've blatantly seen, the Israeli government wants to exterminate every single Palestinian on the planet. It's not saying that every Israeli wants the same thing, because of course not every German was part of the German Nazi Party. But we've seen this time and time again, especially with the recent protests where children were throwing stones. Israeli soldiers with assault rifles couldn't murder the children with their assault rifles, so they called in snipers to kill the protesters. There was no self-defense going on there, it was just an execution. So again, I understand the comparison. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand it. Now the problem arises that Corbyn didn't shut this person down. And when people, understandably, got irritated with what this person was saying, Corbyn shut them down and allowed this person to keep speaking. And that's where this whole controversy has come from. Now, one of my biggest pet peeves with Parliament, especially when you watch Parliament, is when someone is giving their speech, everyone joins in. And it drives me crazy. The fact that these people we elect to represent us can't act like adults. And it's on both sides. It's on the left, it's on the right. One person, regardless of which side they are, starts speaking, and then the other side start cheering and booing and everything else. Grow the hell up. Let them finish and then rebuttal. That's what Parliament's meant to do. So, people who are defending Corbyn are saying that's the mentality that he had. Now, people who are more critical of Corbyn, and I do kind of fall into this camp as well, say he should have shut down the conversation there and then because it was based on a false premise. Now, I do the same thing when people start talking to me and they have a bad premise that has an entire argument built up on it, like economic growth. If economic growth is built up on trickle-down economics, I have to step in and correct them, because trickle-down economics does not lead to an economic growth. History has proven that, the facts are in, it's all there. But that's where this controversy comes in. The fact that Corbyn allowed this person to keep speaking unchallenged until the end. And that's it. That really is it. Corbyn didn't say anything. He didn't say anything anti-Semitic, but he allowed this person to speak on this grounds that Israel is copying the Nazi Party. Again, I understand that equivalency, but yeah, it's not true. Corbyn should have stepped in and said, no, that's not right. Since then, he's apologised. He didn't apologise after the meeting, but he has apologised since. He apologised when this all came out. But I find that very interesting. The fact that we are now focused on this, yet 3 top-ranking Conservative MPs who have repeatedly, and on the quiet, have met with a neo-Nazi, a proud neo-Nazi, and yet nothing has been said. Boris Johnson, Jacob Rees-Mogg and Michael Gove have all been meeting with Stephen Bannon. Now, Stephen Bannon is the same guy who met with Piers Morgan. They talked about Donald Trump a few weeks ago. He is a racist. He is a white supremacist. He is a neo-Nazi. his ex-wife reported a few years ago that while they were together and living in LA, Steve Bannon did not want his child going to this particular school because, in his words, he said, "I don't want her going to school with Jews." That is actually anti-Semitism. Not letting someone speak and getting their point across, that's a grey area, but that's certainly not anti-Semitism. But Steve Bannon is an anti-Semite. He praised the neo-Nazis at Charlottesville even after they killed an innocent protester. And this protester, by the way, Heather Heyer, was protesting Nazis. Nazis have been the bad guys since the Second World War for a very good reason. They are the bad guys. You cannot be a neo-Nazi and a good person, despite what Donald Trump says, because there is something inherently wrong with it. Yet, the three highest-ranking members of the Conservative Party constantly meet with this man, and the media says nothing. Now, in my opinion, they say nothing because they are scared. They are terrified. The media is owned by the wealthiest in the country. And what will happen if Jeremy Corbyn gets in? Gone. Wealth redistribution. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, of course not. But we will have a society that has a lot of socialist values. And by the way, socialist just means resources owned by the public. So transport will be owned by the public, not private sectors. Education will be public, not public money going into private sectors while public schools struggle. Jeremy Corbyn recently took Ben Bradley to court after Ben Bradley accused him publicly of being a spy for Cuba. Corbyn sued him. Corbyn won. But has Ben Bradley paid anything? No, because his donors paid for it. Because Bradley was just being the good little foot soldier and sowing the seeds of doubt in the eyes of the public. This will not be the last attack on Jeremy Corbyn. We all know it's not the first attack on Jeremy Corbyn. There will be 100 more to come. And it is entirely because they are scared he will actually bring back the power to the people in this country.